Hello everyone. I would like to talk about a very beautiful topic today. And a topic which I want you to see that this is Mr.Within's communication to you. This is what I'm saying, just a suggestion. The title of this talk will be called Vents of Self-Remembrance. And vents as in V-E-N-T-S. Vents of self-remembrance. And the reason I am communicating this is because I want to bring that imagery for a second. And I've never crawled into a vent or out of a vent, but I've seen enough movies to use that imagery. You see, guys, the concept of self-remembrance is a very important one. Now, before I get into even explaining the vent idea, we need to talk about self-remembrance a bit. And what self-remembrance is actually you really paying attention to your existence. And when you pay attention to your existence, you see that some ideas fade because your attention is very natural. It's as if you never needed to lie to yourself, so you're always honest with yourself. But to others, for example, you might have lied. And you may make lying a very huge thing. You may make it as if like you have done the biggest crime. However, it doesn't matter what you really feel. It's how much clearly you have seen what you have done to then learn from it. Information is not clear the first time you see it. Sometimes the symbol must be looked at to be seen more clearly. And similarly, we think that, okay, if you were to look at an object more clearly or read a book more clearly, you'd understand more. How would you read and observe the human being? And you see, the human being has memory. And so here comes self-remembrance, that clarity which we're seeking within man. Now, when we think about clarity, when we use the concept of thinking, this brings images as if there is an idea making other ideas in our mind. And because it's vague, because we just are aware of the presence of ideas, but we're not seeing them exactly. And you see, this is abstraction where you can tune in to the physical understanding that no, this is your machinery and your apparatus works in a way where this is the phenomena that happens because it's just a phenomena of the machine. It's just something that happens. Or you can see that the intelligence of observance shifts, and so self-remembrance is the path. So think about this, where we are in a scene, and so let's say we have lied to ourselves. Let's say we are that crook or thief who's about to steal that diamond, and he's looking at the vent. You will see that when you're in a place where you feel you can have more awareness. I mean, you're not against awareness. You're just like, okay, I could be more aware. I could know more things throughout the day. If you feel like that, then there is a path which you will introduce to yourself through your clarity. Remember this. So now go back to the scene where we just have a diamond in our hand, but we still feel we're in the wrong place. We feel as if life hasn't taken us to that moment where it's our moment. It's as if we're just simply the periphery, the peripheral vision of the clear vision. We still feel we're not that clear vision. So as we have a very treasure, we think we have this diamond in our hand, but we see, wow, I have a diamond in my hand, but I'm in a condition where some things are being attracted to me based on this action, which are not needed, unnecessary. So we go up to the vents and we run, and imagine we know that the alarm's been hit like those movies. And as you're going into the vent, what is actually happening is like, take this vent metaphor simply as you contemplating on who you are. That's it. So when you're going through the vent, when we're going back from where we don't want to be and we're just going, you see, it's narrow. Self-remembrance is actually how your sense of awareness is passing through different memories. So let's say if my eyes, or let's say my awareness, was just a spotlight of attention. And so in this spotlight, whatever came, I was the one choosing what the information was. So let's say I'm looking and cards are passing. I'm choosing if that's blue or red or whatever, I'm seeing it, but I'm making a conscious decision if it's red or blue, The colors will begin to fade. The vent will make you feel as if You don't know where you are. You may feel that some thoughts are giving you narrow senses of self, which you cannot confront. Sometimes people can be given thoughts which they cannot confront, and so they are bothered. So for example, let's say, think of a child, okay? And they're not actually bothered. I mean, whenever someone has pushed you, they've also given you an allowance to understand where you're being pulled to. So, we don't want to get caught in our lack of attention to other side of the spectrum, you know? We want to acknowledge the spectrum and work with the observance that is flying over both. So now, self-remembrance will show you the different states of being you have had to different senses of attention during different moments in which you remember, and in a sense you refabricate in the moment. What that really means is that we are keeping a sense of memory, a sense of meaning. We are keeping it. It's something that's being held. Some people eventually see that life is more than just the games of life, and they don't want to just be a player. They wonder about the storyteller, and they just seek to see where, you know, the peak of existence goes. And in an authentic search, the universe will authentically approach you. Be an honest man and communicate something honestly. You know how honest you can be. Just communicate it and, for example, say it directly. Say it as if you feel the most comfortable being alive saying this. And you will feel the communication you have given to life has just been so authentic, so natural, that naturally you're just given the response. Life communicates to those who see it, those who see life. Life is always responding through you. And so it's that allowance of creation and co-creation that you're giving yourself that is really adjusting it. So guys, self-remembrance takes you back, and you will feel like you're in an event. You will feel that some memories will make you feel uncomfortable. However, you will be in a state of revealing treasures of value within yourself. What that means is, you might be a great artist, but to you, drawing has just been like, oh, I'm just drawing, I'm not doing anything, you know? And you have not seen the value of your work because your acknowledgement of it is to a different state. But once you acknowledge it to the proper state, once people begin looking at you as if they're seeing something fabulous in your work, and this is something which you should see in every human design, to be honest. You should not see art as just something on the canvas, on the page. You should see art as the moment's creation, the design of the moment which you are aware in the unique way. Your eyes and your mind has been molded to show you how far your breath can go. Be natural, and self-remembrance will carry you through the flow of the faith you have, of the trust you have in life. You know, so there are people who really their attention is on God, and there are people who their attention is not on God, but never, for these both categories, always have your attention on life, and always be sensitive into granting and allowing existential expression. So what that means is that someone might feel like very wealthy, a millionaire, has status, has control, but they will see that their control, if it's based on other people having less ability to be free, you feel it as a being. You have the same impulse of existential movement and growth that any other being has. And to limit one to exceed, to add to yours, is actually creating a confusion which you don't need to be lost in, when you can be found in a knowing that is just more collectively conscious. I use the metaphor of blind men who are moving their canes around like crazy because they feel they're standing, but you know, they're just moving their cane. And you know, a blind man throwing his cane around and moving, it could hit someone in the head and also himself, you know. And we don't want to say anyone who feels like they don't know is blind. Not knowing is not blindness. It is your approach to not knowing that is keeping you blind. To say I don't know authentically, honestly, is the most beautiful thing that life can see through your eyes. That is why you see that in honest communication, there is more existential expression and awareness to it. And so your self-awareness dissolves into the moment of your being. So in this self-remembrance that we have, as we're going through the vents, you suddenly stop being in the vent anymore. You feel the surface of the vent, the metal, the narrow path just eventually fade, and you see that you have gone to another point in your memory. And that other point in your memory, as if this whole time I have been talking, you have been recollecting, you have been looking at everything through your past to keep it here, you know. So as you are in this vent, the metal on the vent, the narrowness changes, because you begin to realize, as the conscious awareness you are, as the spotlight of attention that you are, in an instant your reality can shift based on the resonance which you feel. And what I mean by resonance you feel, guys, it's an experiential thing. Look at your body, look at your face, look at who you are. You are alive. You are life. And you are a life that has been so playfully and humorously been conditioned in a very proper way, actually, to look at things as if you are not life. So you are the being who knows your life and also has the ability to also look at it as if you're a machine. And you see that the consciousness of man is observant beyond anybody's. And what that means is that you're not even bothered by death, but you see that in life you can acknowledge more than one body. You can touch a tree and just feel as if your fingers are lost or have extended, you know. You will feel that there is a grace and there is a powerful invitation of awareness when you really look clearly. And so self-remembrance is actually an act of clarity. Because when you look at your past, your evaluation of the present becomes much more better. It's as if when we remember our memories, there's a part of us that is still standing there. And you feel that you were never in the cradle and you were never out of it. And that the being who found the projections of life to be present in the moment saw that there was something more than the lens and even the beam. Because a projector, if it had self-awareness, would innately know about the possibility of it being turned off. But if you're aware of the possibility of you being turned off, how are you not aware of the possibility of being turned on in a way where your companions become nothing but the beauty of the moment in your walks? And so we are no longer in the vents because we are no longer passing through a space, structured space-time continuum consideration, let's say, dash consideration. You need to very playfully and beautifully see that the concept of time can really sometimes limit the beauty of the direct experience you're always having. Every moment of your life, you're having direct experience, okay? Now, we want to take this conscious idea that is aware of it, but I'm saying the conscious idea is not something to move. In other words, don't expect your name to become another name. See beyond names. And when you see beyond names, you will see life in ways where you cannot ignore it. And you will have found the beauty in how nature is its own healing. And it is its own direction. And it's never late. It is very beautiful because as I am talking now, hopefully I would like to see that I am planting seeds that may turn into trees, or someone may build a house over them. But what I'm saying is that every idea, every word spoken, every image, every memory, every consideration of shape, every consideration of measurement, every object of observation, every consideration of an observer, every dissolution into, I guess, transparent view, all actions of continuum are pointing to an awareness that can acknowledge beyond such a continuum. So you will see that if spirituality, or in a sense, let's say, direct experience with life, is something that is layered in ideas, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to break ideas, you need to get rid of it. You need to see that the nature of your observance, the nature of your view, how you are present, can never be limited. It cannot. The nature of your being just cannot. As if the nature of the seed is to, sprout. You cannot. The nature of your design is to, in a sense, explore the infinity in your self-awareness. Do all those things that are temporal, with all those crumbling leaves which our feet may go on, and eventually even the crumbling of our solidified senses of self. There are stories in, ancient wisdom traditions, and for example, I heard one in Tibetan Buddhism, which was very beautiful. And there was this very wise and enlightened being, and he had his disciples around him. And the moment comes where he recognizes that there is a greater excitement calling him, an excitement in which he has been waiting for, but in a sense, never needed to. When an excitement of dissolution comes, when an excitement of transformation comes, you will see that you will properly align your environment to then step off it. What that means is that before you leave your room, you want to tidy your bed. You want to clean your bed so next time you come and you're like, oh, nice, I got a nice bed. Enjoy the IKEA furniture and whatnot. But that's the thing. So this enlightened being and Master, being aware that he was going to pass, he calls all his students, and it's like pre-planned. It's as if before his time comes and before he knows he's going to very simply die, He calls all his students, he gives them blessings. He gives them the eyes of his greatest self that is potent and present here. And he blesses his disciples, and he sits, and in a very meditative pose, in a pose that is one of comfort, existential comfort, he gently and very gently begins this walk out of the body. And so this is my experience of it, and these are my views on what could have gone through the mind of that enlightened being after he had blessed all his disciples, and he was just there. He was leaving. And I personally believe the focus that you get existentially can be very playfully said right now by me in a way that the me was never there. Visualize that you are aware that you need to go see a friend in another city, let's say. Let's say you're in Birmingham and you want to go to London. Let's say you're in London and you want to go to Birmingham, And as you're looking at this plan, this intention you have, you will see that, oh, you have bought tickets even though you haven't left your house. You're aware of a certain occurrence just a couple steps in front of you before it occurs. And as that occurs, that the presence knows. The enlightened being, in my view, and enlightenment is really, after some point it becomes insignificant. That's one thing that you need to recognize. It is always significant. It's as if through its significance you realize the beauty of its insignificance. And when I say insignificance, as in it becomes insignificant when your awareness or the way you're looking at yourself shifts in a way. For example, you look at your past and you suddenly see, was I really doing that? Wow, was I really wearing that hat that way? You know, so you see these things, and it is a self-awareness that is already its own communication, as I can say. And so the enlightened being, the guru, begins to gently walk. And so before his conscious mind even is aware, his walk has begun. And in a sense, when I say his walk has begun, I'm playfully saying in an instant there's a transparency of allowance to flow in any direction based on your awareness of where you can be. So what that is for us, we are considering existence, we're considering visibility, and then are being very excited by the things that are invisible, things that, not excited by the things that are invisible, in a sense by the things that we don't know. I mean, the human being is always learning. Think of the things that you're so excited about learning, you know? That's a healthy curiosity. And it's a curiosity that is pulling you to transformation all the time. So we call it curiosity, I just call it an attention to something that's exciting. So your state of being is more excited, you know? And your ability to confront the self will become really a moment in which the ocean begins to dissolve and merge with the drop. When you are aware of the calling of the ocean, the drop will drop itself. And pretty much your focus and your awareness will really reveal yourself to you. So I would like you to add to all that you have taken from this talk the importance of self-remembrance and the ability you in a sense gain by confronting all the things that you're uncomfortable with. Because when you think of how can I be a comfortable human being, you look at what's uncomfortable. And when you look at the uncomfortable, you're like, all right, I found the challenges of the day. Let's see how I can handle the environment. How can I handle the moment, you know? And you go through that. And once you have acted, you will see the being who acts gives himself a more precious moment of involvement with life. And when you get more involved with life, you will learn more. You cannot. As if, you know, if you begin walking, regardless in whatever mist you are, you will eventually, you know, find where you are. Have faith in your legs. Have that existential knowing, which is you standing in this mist. You knowing that you're here, and also having an ability to be present everywhere. And so know yourself wisely, with self-awareness and with self-remembrance. And be very mindful. And what that means is that there's a concept which, let me see if I can beautifully suggest. I mean, it's mindfulness, which I want to say, but think of mindfulness as you just being aware that your shoelace is untied and tie it. You know, it's a very simple thing. It's just being aware that how things are as they are, and through that existential view, first existential view, then look at any idea. When you are aware of your being, then any constructs you become the wind between the structures. You become that flow, that is very existentially self-allowed. And so, may we no longer even perceive a pain that is just a visitor in our reality. Suffering is visiting you because you are a moment of being visiting all that you're interpreting. And so you will see the beauty in who you are. Life will show you greater flows within your presence as you are self-aware to a point where you take existential responsibility for all senses of other. What that means is that you're not just taking care of your individuality, you are allowing yourself the collective consciousness and the might of a compassionate human being to work as the soft touch of existence here. And trust me, your greatest sense of knowing appears to you when you trust yourself. And as you step out of that event, as you suddenly remember that existential moment where even co-creation was just being introduced to you, you will see that imagery is just imagery and words are just words, but the shape that you hold always shows you more. Much blessings and namaste.